So Bill Belichick.
No.
Serious about coaching at UNC.
Is he?
He sounds like it, man. He's doing the politicking.
That's what I think this is.
He's doing the politicking of making it sound like he's serious. So we saw Adam Schefter. He was on the Pat McAfee Show. And he reported that Bill Belichick talks with North Carolina are real. And he met with them for 5 hours.
Wow.
He wants to coach, and he's definitely considering the job. Then Belichick on the Pat McAfee Show later, same day, said, I think there are a lot of college football programs that are being structured similar to NFL programs.
Yep.
I think it's closer to the NFL than it has ever been before. That's him talking about structure of program, structure of roster, obviously NIL.
Yeah.
And the way he talked about it, I mean, I listened to it. He was on Pat McAfee Show for like almost 18 minutes.
Wow.
He's basically saying, look, you can hire someone to be a GM, to run the recruiting, to run the NIL.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to recruit. I just coach, which isn't the worst thing because the reason, like once you get to the NFL, you love it. NFL is a lot of hours, a lot of watching film, a lot of game prep, but it's not a lot of hours on the road recruiting, sitting on couches in living rooms and pitching to a 17, 18-year-old, making them promises where they want the world. I think that's a big factor of it too. You're just in UNC and you're concentrating on coaching, not recruiting.
You say that, but listen, you still have to coach the kids. And I'm not convinced that Bill's temperament works with today's college athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
Which I understand.
Like these kids now, I know old fuddy-duddy yells at clouds, but it's not even that. It is the truth. When Shaq hits the fan now, these kids transfer out. That's it. Bill Belichick, the first time he's mean or he yells at someone or he tells someone, you know, the real truth about their game and about themselves, they are leaving. I don't believe this for a second. I do believe he wants to coach. I do agree with him that the structure now of college football is very similar to the NFL. Why I don't believe this is, A, it's UNC. With all due respect. I mean, my mother, rest her soul, was a Tar Heel fan. I grew up watching UNC basketball and football in my house. I respect them. However, that's a basketball school, and it always will be. I don't give a damn if Belichick goes there. It's still a basketball school, okay? Number one. Number two, I actually think college football, coaching in college now, is harder than the NFL. You know why? Because forever – yes, there was the rigors of recruiting, and maybe it's not that tough now. You can have a structure and a GM for NIL and all these things that he described. But I think because of what I said, the fact that these kids will just leave when the going gets tough. They'll just roll out on you. There's no loyalty. There's no – kids don't want to sit and be developed. Bill Belichick's about teaching, George. He's about developing. That doesn't happen in college anymore. These kids now – you go to school as a true freshman, you're not trying to hear Shaq about being redshirted, and you damn sure ain't trying to sit behind someone else for 2 years like back in the day until it's your time to play. None of that's happening. That's not the world in which Bill Belichick's brain operates in, okay? So he had issues sort of, relating with the modern-day NFL player. You really think Bill Belichick can have some sort of connective tissue with an 18-year-old? That ain't happening. That ain't going to happen. And I know everyone's making jokes about the girlfriend, but that ain't happening. So, the way I see this is a leverage play. This is an ego play, George. I think he's using UNC to show I'm Bill Belichick, damn it, and I deserve some respect. Do you hear that, Patriots? Do you hear that, Falcons? I do think he'll end up back in the NFL. And in the crazy chance that he ends up in college football for all these things that he laid out of why it's so great, it ain't going to be at UNC. Sorry, Tar Heel fans. You're not that good. You're not that important. You don't deserve Bill Belichick for your football program. He'll end up at Ohio State after Tennessee beats the Buckeyes in the college football playoff, and they have pitchforks and tiki torches to escort Ryan Day out of town, okay? Maybe you can have a Belichick conversation then, but if I was Ohio State, would still hire Mike Vrabel. That's just me. It ain't going to be for UNC. I don't think it's going to be college, period.
I like that call. He's just doing the showing interest. I'm serious about UNC. Ryan Day loses the college football playoff. Ohio State fires him to pick up the phone. Bill, so what was everything you were saying? Oh, you were, and I quote saying, I'm all about understanding resources, who is working for who, end quote. Who's the best resources in the country? Ohio State.
Facts.
The Ohio State.
Facts.
Hey, Bill, guess what? Your biggest weakness, wide receivers? We have the greatest wide receivers coach in the country.
Facts.
Come in, run the program.
Yep.
We'll have a GM for you. We'll have someone take care of the personnel.
Yep.
The coaching staff will be yours. It can be whatever you want. Yeah, there's some restrictions on recruiting, but don't worry. We got a GM for that. Come in, coach, and guess what? You're going to walk into a situation where you're right in the college football playoff. Bill, you're 72. How much? You want 3 years to coach?
That's right.
Come win us a natty in 3 years.
And they can pay him what he wants.
Yeah.
Not that UNC's paper is long. I don't want this segment to be about how UNC can't afford Bill or anything like that.
The buy-in, UNC's a basketball school.
Yes.
You need the donors to want to pay them.
Yes.
You need the school officials to be on board with the athletic director. There's a lot that goes into hiring a head coach.
Yes.
It's not just the AD signs off on it. There's a lot that goes into it.
Of course.
Ohio State is a football school.
It's an institution. It's the brand. Kids want to go to Ohio State because of the brand.
Yeah.
Kids, people are not going to want to go to UNC because of Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Like, these kids were babies when he was winning Super Bowl. They don't give a day. They know who Bill Belichick is, but they're not moved by this. They're not saying, I got to go to UNC. You know what? I'm not going to go to Oregon and Dan Lanning and everything he's got going on. No. I'm flipping. I'm going to Bill Belichick. That's not happening with five-star stud 18-year-olds. Sorry, bruh. They want to go to Ohio State. That's baked in. They're good with that. They don't give a damn who's coaching. Oh, now I'm going to Ohio State, and you're telling me the GOAT is coaching me? That's all I'm saying.
This quote from him. If I was in a college program, it would be a pipeline to the NFL for the players that have the ability to play in the NFL. It would be a professional program at the college level. I don't have any doubt that the players would be ready for the NFL. I mean, it's recruitment going out there is you're going to learn from the greatest head coach of all time. I'll have you ready to get to the league. But it's more than that now.
Yes, it is.
These guys want the NIL money.
You know who used to say that? And he was right? Nick Saban, his boy.
Yeah.
Why did Saban retire? This grind, these kids.
He definitely picked up the phone and called Saban, though. He definitely did. And, and Saban's worries about NIL, but now there are GMs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're boys, you and I. If this were different, right, and I picked up the phone and I called you, the first thing out of your mouth as my friend is, Travis, you could take any job you want. You'll be great at it.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you some of the pitfalls I dealt with. Boom. Let me tell you some of the pros, some of the cons, right?
Yeah.
But the first thing you're saying is like, bro, you're going to be good anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's how this goes. Saban's not going to say, Bill, run for your life. You don't want any parts of college. These are two of the greats.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, man, you want to coach UNC, you know what you'd kill it. But here's some pros and some cons.
My favorite thing, too, and we'll have him on in Foxborough Rush later this week, but like Michael Lombardi's pointing out, well, the Bears' job isn't the best, and it's not right for Bill because you got to deal with Caleb Williams and this and that, and Ryan Poles. UNC's better than the Chicago Bears, and that's less of a headache?
Hell no.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, which I'm like, Bill is better than that. But like UNC over the NFL?
That's right.
Huh?
Where you could pass Shula.
Huh?
And both of those places you named.
There's a disconnect for me.
Caleb Williams and Trevor Lawrence are already there.
Yeah,
right?
disconnect.
I mean, come on.
Disconnect.
It's BS. That's what this is.
You know what my theory in all this is?
What?
Bill's last year under contract with the Patriots is now. $20 million runs out. Get some money from UNC, Ohio State, fill in the blank. Well, you also get, if you coach at an Ohio State, a UNC, state pension. Little nice, do that for 3 years, accrue a nice little pension, retire, and you have that every year. There was a coach I covered. He coached like over 20 years in Missouri. Over 20 years.
Yeah.
Then I think he did about 5 years in Kansas, just over the border, not far from where he was from.
Yeah.
Small D2 schools. And someone pointed out, they go, you know what he also got out of that? I go, what? Double dipping state pension. Over 20 years in Missouri at a public university, over 5 years in Kansas, public university. Hey, the game's a game. Smart.
Yeah, it is.
Respect that.
I know bro spends all his time, in Nantucket, but it's just Bill doesn't feel North Carolina to me. I'm
sorry.
sorry.
What is it? Outer Banks, baby.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But Bill just doesn't feel like North Carolina. Let me tell you this. As someone who
lacrosse
has family.
School, though, UNC lacrosse school.
Yeah, it's a sports school, but it's basketball, right? As someone who has family in North Carolina and spent all my summers in North Carolina growing up, Bill, the Outer Banks is cool, but that's just a small portion of North Carolina.
Yeah.
That is a vast state, my friend, and it ain't all Outer Banks.
Yeah.
Bill does not feel North Carolina to me.
If Bill was about that life, he'd go to Rutgers. I'm challenging you, Bill. You really about that life? Do Rutgers, baby. Bring Jersey back on the map. Hey, yo, Bill. I can't do a fake.
Yo, Bill.
Nah, I can't do a fake. That was such a bad. I'm so ashamed of myself. I'm so upset with myself.
I was entertained by it. Your boys back home may not be. I was.
You're going to have to bring this home at the end. I'm so upset with myself.